Welcome, everybody, to Masks, Myths and Matters of Life. You all look so lovely. My screen is full of smiling faces. I love it. Thank you so much for answering my call for support and for an audience for this lockdown reading. Advance warning, there is some language of the fruitier variety. There's not a lot of it, but it's there. So if there's a chance that little ears might overhear, maybe grab some headphones, because I don't want to be responsible for any Monday afternoon calls of like, Mrs. Smith, it's Miss Jones from Little Robins, Molly's language in the playground was rather technicolor today. Don't want to be responsible for any of those conversations. So if it could happen, get some headphones. During the reading, we'll mute everybody. So you don't need to worry about if there's background noise and accidentally it being turned on and all that kind of thing. So you'll all be on mute. I obviously won't be, so that would be a bit pointless. If you've got any tech issues, write them in the chat box if I suddenly freeze or anything's going wrong. And my co-host, my husband, who's sitting just over here, will rave frantically at me to stop talking while we sort that out. They have their uses, husbands, It's quite good.
Sometimes.
So we'll put you all on mute now, which I think means I just have to unmute myself quickly once we do it. And I unmute. There we go. Can you all hear me? Thumbs up, lovely. Right. So all of the pieces that I'm going to read for you tonight, there are 4 of them, and they'll take about 20 minutes. So we should be done by about 25 past. They were written as standalone pieces. So that's how I'm going to perform them for you. This has the huge added benefit to me that I don't have to try and find clever and intelligent ways to segue from one to the other. So instead, I'm just going to introduce each one with its title and dive in. They're different in length, they're different in style, some are in character, others are autobiographical. All of them are observational and seek to describe and understand a little of the chaos that is life. So without further ado, the first is entitled, Guess Who? Who am I? Gosh, what a delving and tricky little question you ask. How best to articulate and where to start? Perhaps with some of my fundamental beliefs on standards and ways of living. Above all things, I value sameness and conformity. That is, unless your individuality has reached the level of extraordinary. If you're going to be different in my presence, you better make damn sure that you do it spectacularly and acceptably well. I have no time for your average run-of-the-mill different. If you are arrogant enough to decide that my path is not for you, please ensure that you're rocking A++ different, which is to say that you're different in a way that I still find pleasing and can enjoy and be entertained by. There is no room for your difference to challenge me. I do not like challenge, and I don't rate change as a tool for growth either. Instead, you must be perfect at all times, because perfect is the path to wealth, happiness, and success. By perfect, I do mean my very particular kind of perfect, the one I have been telling people to be for centuries now. Please, I beg you, don't trouble yourself trying to think of a different version of success. Trust me and mine. Women should be tall, but not too tall. Their breasts should be just so. Their hips and waist should fall in a graceful, slender curve, but without an inch of fat. Fat is not perfect. I do not accept fat. What's that you say? Over 60% of the population are. Well, that's because they are not yet perfect. Women must endeavour to always be well turned out in the latest told and sold to them seasonal fashion, with hair only in the right places and none in the wrong. The aesthetic of a woman is vitally important, despite the efforts of some in recent years to change that. I mean, it's nice if they have the wit to hold a good conversation, get a decent job, but it's by no means imperative. Which reminds me, if you have a womb, one of your key duties in life is to grow within it a child. Be prepared to answer significant questions on this if you haven't started popping them out in my timeframes. Adoption is a suitable alternative in the face of mechanical issues, but all of this always only in wedlock. Oh no, hang on, wait, what is it now? Committed monogamous relationships, heterosexual or same sex. I've had to appear to move with the times a little to keep everyone compliant. I have designed my system to work optimally, intergenerationally, and have found that family, well, my version of it, works wonders for the fast handing down of my beliefs and the continued existence of the enclosed system. What do you mean you don't want kids? Well, for a start, who will look after you when you're old? And second, who will you live your life vicariously through in order to keep my system regenerating? Now, men should be rugged, handsome, intelligent, and yet soft and sensitive. The good ones know when it's the right time to alpha up and when it's the right time to show some humility and back down. They only get one chance to get this right. Make a wrong turn and they're either a bully or weak and a geek. And no, you don't get to change your label once I've given it to you. I don't do refunds, returns, or do-overs. Once good, always good. Once bad, always bad. That clear? Sorry, you're mumbling. Something about fair? Fair doesn't exist. Nothing in life is fair. Mind you, some are lucky enough to be born in a better postcode where things can seem a little easier. I'll let you into a little secret. That's actually the process I'm most proud of creating. When that newborn is nestled in its parents' arms, fresh in the world, and they look into its eyes and see and feel the ruse of limitless possibilities, when actually that's my first opportunity to give their child its first label of expectation. Well, start them young. Let them know where they stand from the get-go. And you said I wasn't fair. Ah, yes, that first label is always the best and often the most powerful, I find. So it really is quite futile to be thinking about treading a different path to the one that I've auto set for you at birth. Good postcode is university, professional job, gorgeous home, and picture postcard family. Bad postcode is substandard education, poor job and housing prospects, and a shorter life of scraping and struggling. Both, though, I've engineered so they can come with illness, physical and mental, huge debt, deep unhappiness, and a persistent gnawing feeling of unease and entrapment. Don't ever say I discriminate. Yet, despite all my hard work to manifest this system for everyone, there are still the odd few who come along with ideas above their postcode station, try to break out of their predetermined path. I dislike them, but I can cope as long as they switch without too much noise into one of my other predetermined paths and knuckle down and get on with it. But still, I do often wonder, who do they think they are? An autonomous individual? Top tip, to best survive in my world, remember to be smart and utilize your common sense. Just make sure that your sense is indeed common and toes my party line. No room for differing opinions here. And don't forget to take all the opportunities to demonstrate to others your goodness. No, don't worry, there's no need to actually take good actions. Just make sure that you appear to be a good person. This is where the internet has really stepped up my game. The odd post, photo, video here and there really does keep my little web of shame very well weaved, which is all that I really need to keep everyone in check. No, it doesn't matter that the reason that some might not be visibly good is because they're busy actually doing good, like caring for their elderly parents or the like. I mean, just take a photo of it. It's not hard. It's just a couple of clicks. No, it's not an invasion of their privacy. After all, you're all my public property. You should know from the start, if we're going to be pals, you will never be enough in my eyes. You will never do enough, get enough, find enough, save enough, be good enough. You will never be perfect enough. But that's no excuse to stop trying, because the only thing worse than not reaching the pinnacle of enough is not even attempting to reach the pinnacle of enough. Over the years, I have mastered the perfect response to those who turn their back completely on my way. I call this very small collective the weirdos. Turn your back on me and I will take a swift two-step approach of isolate and obliterate, which is to say simply that I will make you invisible to my majority clique. I despise the weirdos. They are so much lesser than me that they barely warrant my attention. Once invisible, I assume they slink off to their dark, unsuccessful, unhappy caves. But I must admit, I've never actually bothered to check. I mean, why would I? In summary, know that you will never feel worthy. Worth could, after all, lead to dissent, uprising, and revolution, to an opening of the mind to a different way. And then how would the 1% of the 1% pay for their super yachts? No, worthiness just won't do. There is no place for it here. Do not trust yourself. Do not seek alternatives. Do not listen to your heart. Do not embrace change. Do not face your fear. Do not love unconditionally. Just don't. If you're unsure or ever feel the need to exercise your own decision-making faculties, please contact me first, and I will be more than happy to set you back on the right path. Who am I, you asked? Why? I'm your culture, and I thank you so much for your continued cooperation. The second story is called Everyday Acts. It doesn't take courage to survive a plane crash. A good pilot and a hefty dose of luck are the only things that can help you once the engines have stopped turning and you are falling, the dirt silently approaching. Courage comes in after the fact, every day, every hour, every minute. It comes in the keeping going despite the energy-guzzling hyper-awareness, the frenetic nightmares, the self-destroying coping mechanisms, the echoing void of loneliness. By keeping going, I don't mean returning to and doing exactly what you were doing the day before it happened. Keeping going after trauma doesn't look like normal, it doesn't look like happy, it doesn't look like successful. I mean the absolute basics of keeping your body going. Heart beating, chest rising. That alone can take every ounce of fight you have. Forget any notion of linear recovery. Life is not linear. When the plane was coming down, I didn't feel fear, not because I wasn't aware of what was happening, but because I was. Instead came the overwhelming weight of sadness for all the words I had not said to the people that they needed to be said to, for all the characters I had not yet even met, for all the experiences I had not had. And then Lady Luck rolled her reprieve and a new reality was born, an unexpected reality, where with the logistics of survival day done, standing fresh on the other side, you find that it's all just a bit of a buzzkill, really. I had driven home, walked back into my empty flat, and realized that my life, my human connections, were as sparse and as bleak as my accommodation. And in the battle of the everyday keeping going, you have a choice. Simple to say, a mental and emotional Everest to climb. Change things. Try again. Try again to build the life and the relationships you want. Click and tap of keys on keyboard, dating website open on screen, butterflies in stomach, vulnerability, high alert, open mind. If nothing else, Morag, there'll be evenings to just meet another human being, a chance to connect. And then he was there. And life in an instant became pre and post, a first encounter of sweet, intoxicating cocktails, so many cocktails that 4 years later, each one will name a table at our wedding reception. Endless, easy, interesting chat, deep belly laughter, last tube home missed, expensive taxi rides, and every fibre of my being says, do not walk away from this one. 6 weeks after that first date, we move into our first home together. Wide smiles, bodies fizzing with joy. Strict rule, one needed. We both agree that it is always better to have the difficult conversation than the unrecoverable one. Moments of bright, warm sunshine in the heavy darkness of just keeping going. Nothing in life is linear. Now I look back and wonder how it even happened. For months after the move, the constriction of trauma wrapped around me, binding me to the spot, kept me prisoner in that new flat. I left my job, tried and failed to see therapists. My brain became a balaclavaed stranger. No decision brought peace, and still he stayed through all the mess of my brokenness. And then there were three, not a human three, two adults and a German Shepherd puppy. That puppy saved my life. Connection, it turns out, doesn't always have to be human. Advised that puppies like a place where they can feel secure, we gave him his own personal cave in the form of a cage, partially covered with a blanket. We didn't know any better, but he did. Puppy and broken woman left alone together throughout the days. He paced and he howled and he racked his paws across the bars until there was no option but to ignore all the expert advice and let him out. He instantly emerged triumphant, looked me straight in the eye and urinated on the sitting room floor. He saw his cage, fought furiously to break free, and then quite literally pissed all over mine. Nature knows, and that ball of fluff knew we had to be outside, knew we had to move, knew we had to feel the sunshine on our skins, knew we had to sleep and rest, knew that sometimes all that can be done is to sit quietly and just exist through this next moment of keeping going. Nothing in life is linear. 12 years on, a kaleidoscope of newness, oldness, pain and joy has passed. It has all come, like an ocean bringing never-ending waves of experience. Some we got to surf, some crashed over us with such ferocity, they threatened to never let us back up for air. Still, we keep on. Always the difficult conversation, never the unrecoverable one, trusting that nature knows. Every day keeping going, every day head up, shoulders back, heart beating, chest rising, everyday acts of courage. The penultimate piece is one called Paradox. It offends me that the most offensive word in the English language describes a body part of a woman. Not just that, the part of her, the part that bears us all, if not in birth, then in conception. How can we live in a world of love if we deem the very canal of life itself to be vulgar, disparaging, something to be censored? I want to reclaim it, but reclamation runs the risk of rejection from all sides. Language is fluid, but our programming on this one is so strong. Don't be crass. Intelligent people know that there are better words in the dictionary than the four-letter ones. But sometimes only the four-letter words will do. Only they convey my reality, my real feeling, and our real identity. Hope, free, kind, true, soul, love, primeval, powerful, animal, four-letter words. For I am animal, life-giving animal, and so are you. We watch nature documentaries, fascinated by life and how it works when humans are not involved. What does that say about us? That we have begun to prefer watching the world, our world, without us in it. If we allowed artificial intelligence to take over, to rule by making rational, non-emotional decisions based only on the facts of our impacts, would it decide that the greatest benefit to all life, to all species, would be the total eradication of just one, us? But nature counters logic every day. Just hack back the weeds in a garden and watch them return again and again and again. Life's thirst for life is insatiable. Survival, the love of life and staying alive, is hardwired into our DNA, into all DNA. It connects all universal. And yet the only thing we can guarantee is that we will not survive. Life is terminal. Is this why we are really so offended by the life-giving cunt? Because it delivers us all into the ultimate human paradox, our beautiful, life-loving, completely unsurvivable earthly existence. The final piece is the title piece, Masks and Myths. As she reaches the sliding doors, she remembers, stops, looks around apprehensively, nervously. Judging eyes are on her. Needs must, she thinks to herself, hand in pocket, nothing. Overladen handbag is swung around from back to front and furiously rummaged through until at last she finds it, her favourite mask. Triple cotton layered for best protection. That's what the label said. She remembers because it reminded her of a feminine hygiene ad. Deed done, her mouth and nose covered, she is finally free to enter the supermarket. Eyes no longer on her, her compliance has rendered her safe from the shaming of strangers. 4 aisles in, and a realization dawns that this mask has its perks as she eye flirts outrageously with the hunk in milk and dairy. Unencumbered by identification worries, unbothered by her lack of makeup, covered and unknowable, she begins to feel a freedom, a superhero with an invisibility cloak kind of freedom. Her pace quickens. The trolley wheels clunk, 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 clunk until optimum speed is reached. She leans on the handle, raises her feet from the ground and glides past the tinned peaches. 5 seconds to regress from 45 to 5 for the whole world, including the supermarket, to become her playground. Why was I so down on this at the door, she ponders. Then, reality. A small child, an actual one this time, runs past deep into the busy aisle, throws himself on the floor and tantrums like no tantrum seen before. An impressive performance that sprays his emotions out for all to witness. She feels a pang of jealousy. He is unmasked and unconstrained. Not so for his harassed and horrified mother, who can do nothing to stop this show, and so bows her head down, eyes to the floor, and repeats, "I'm sorry, God, I'm so sorry," like a tape stuck in an old worn hi-fi. She tries to meet this mother's eyes, smile, let her know it's fine. She understands. She's been there. But her words are muffled and her body language lost in mass translation. And so the mother stands alone, an island in a sea of mass-tutting, eye-rolling disapproval, unable to identify the invisible bridge of empathy that could have connected her to an ally and safe haven. Performance over, the weekly shop dulls back to its mundane routine, soulless, airless, until finally it is done. She exits back through the sliding portal doors, whipping the mask off as soon as she can to free herself from its suffocations and to taste the cool, sunshine-filled fresh air. Our masks today are visible, physical, tangible. We wear them for safety, for others and ours, yet we know instinctively that despite their merits, they are flawed, transitory, something that should ultimately be removed. But what of our invisible masks, the ones we wear daily and never take off? How much are they suffocating us? Myths began as a way to pass down wisdom from elders to youngers, from those who did know to those who did not. They told the history of something, explained a natural or social phenomenon. They were, in essence, grounded in truth, embellished, yes, as all stories are, to make them memorable and understandable, but done so for safety. Because that's what ancient wisdom passed down ultimately is, an attempt to keep a loved one safe, like a tangible mask in a pandemic. When based in truth, a myth is a wonderful thing, a handy reminder of when to apply caution and for how long, shepherds and their red skies. But what of the other myths, the widely held but false ones, the invisible ones? We know them even if we haven't really thought about them much. The perfect body, the perfect marriage, the perfect home, the perfect family, the perfect lover, the perfect job. Very all-inclusive is your perfect myth. Success brings happiness. Great art is born through great suffering. In order to win, someone must lose. These myths are everywhere, and we wear them daily. In every smiling, oh, I'm fine, thanks, when we're dying inside. In every, yes, yes, of course, I've totally got the time, crumbling of boundaries. They are in every judgment of another when we overlay the myth of our rightness, the myth that there is only one right way, and please, God, let it be my way, because otherwise I'm wrong and I've fucked up and I've failed and I'm not perfect. And then what happens? What will that mean for me and my safety? That is, after all, why these false myths permeate so well. Their aim is the same as the true myths, the alleviation of fear and the securing of safety. The greatest lies are the ones told so close to the truth. And so we gather up our myths in our invisible masks and we wear them tight. We hold on to the fleeting moments of eye flirtation in aisle 4 and the playful trolley glide past the canned goods, thinking, believing, hoping that these brief moments of joy are proof that our masks work and that the fake myth might in fact be true. We pick them up so young that we don't even remember that we stopped apprehensively at the door, unsure we wanted to put them on in the first place. And we never take them off to know and feel the sweet relief and freedom of the fresh, clean air. I wonder what would happen if every day when we take off our physical masks, we try to willingly shed some of our invisible ones. What if we played myth like we used to play I Spy as kids? Like when your mate says, no, it's totally fine. I mean, after all, nothing in life that's good is easy. And you gently put your hand on hers and call myth. Or when you prepare the Christmas dinner and burn the turkey and your inner voice declares that that's it, the whole of Christmas is ruined, and you catch yourself, whisper under your breath, myth. And when you see the children tease and say, boys don't wear pink, you smile, look them straight in the eye and say, myth. Over the weeks, you lift the veil of invisibility lightly, kindly, playfully, by spotting and calling out all the myths, until you can stand back and laugh at the sheer ridiculousness of the volume of it all the myths you have carried, all the invisible masks you have worn, and in finally seeing them and symbolically removing them, you realize you have blown apart the limitations that had previously bound and suffocated you. I'll start. You have to do it all on your own. Myth. People don't change. Myth. Weapons are more powerful than words. Myth. Your voice and your actions won't make a difference. Myth. Your turn. Thank you everyone for coming and supporting and indulging me as I play with this writing thing and what it could be. And especially big thank you to the marvellous Kate Wolf and my wonderful Story Studio friends who are here, even though they've heard all the stories before. That's commitment and massive support. If you've enjoyed it even half as much as I have enjoyed writing it and putting it together for you, then, you know, winning. I promise to be done by 25 past, and I failed slightly miserably, so I won't keep you for too much longer. If you feel so compelled, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all aspects of what you've heard tonight. I'm a big believer that the universe puts people in our path who can help us, so I'm open to it all, including the fearsome. I completely disagree with you on that, because I do love a good friendly debate. Conversation is the route to understanding, and understanding is the route to progress, so bring it all on. And I'll stick around for a little bit after this. I have this G&T which has been eyeing me up since I started reading, so I'm going to start cracking through with that. But thank you again, your support's been amazing and hugely appreciated. Cheers.
Morag, you said you went over the time and so you failed horribly, and I say myth.
Yes. What are you going to do with it, Maura?
Oh, Turner, straight in there. More. I'm going to do more with it, because it was too much fun to not do more with it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
It was amazing. First one was terrifying.
Lots of people say that. I think that was the first thing that Kate said when she read it. She's like, oh my God, it's so cold, I want to be a weirdo.
They're really well performed. I mean, brilliantly written, but really well performed as well.
Thank you very much.
Let us know when it goes live, Morag, when you're on stage.
On the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can I ask a question, then, Mike? Have you had theatrical training?
No.
Because
I
it was brilliant.
It was
I
brilliant.
not many people could do that without any training.
It was fantastic.
It was just natural.
yeah. The last time I was on any kind of stage, I was 15 and at school. I think in a play called The Golden Mask of Agamemnon. That was it.
Did you enjoy it then?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely. But it's totally different when it's your own stuff. And I did have a moment earlier and I thought, my God, what if I forget the words and all that? And then I thought, behave more, you wrote them. Like, please, God, like, trust that you're going to remember your own words. So, yeah. And do we still have wine left? We do one final cheers before we say goodnight to one another. There we go. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So lovely to see you. Cheers.
Maura,
Awesomeness.
Well done.
well done, Angel. It was
Thank
brilliant.
you.
Absolutely brilliant.
I loved it. It was really, really good. Well done. You're very, very gifted.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing, Morag. Absolutely brilliant. Do it again. Do it again.
Yes, do it again.
Oh.
More. We all want more.
I better get writing.
Yes,
You had. You better, and wider audience next time. I can't keep it secret from others for long.
My sister, Catherine, she said to me just before we started, have you told Mum or Dad or invited them? And I thought, after the third piece, I thought, no, I don't really want my mother on the call for that one just yet. Do you know, Mum, I've just started this new thing, started writing. I can imagine straight away what I would get back from her.
Myth.
What? Absolute myth. I call myth on that.
I don't even know your mother. I just want to call myth.
I definitely. But that first one, oh my God. That one, yes.
It was really interesting, that one, because it started when we were talking about culture, and when I started writing about it first, I just got really, really angry, as you could write. And then when I thought about making the character, then it just became ridiculous, right? Because that character is ridiculous. I can think. So yeah, so that one is the most fun, I think, to perform, because she's just so over the top. And I always have an image of her in like a twin set and pearls.
Yeah.
That came across.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It was beautiful.
I'm rather liking Clarence's suggestion, Morag. Same time next month.
At same time next month. I mean, committed. That's Christmas knows? Same time maybe in January. January. I reckon the January one, because
I don't
January
know,
is just a horrible
20th of December, a little pre-Christmas storytelling.
I'd be up for that.
Yeah, me too.
Sitting here with my wine.
I will take a look at the diary, 20th of December. What are you like? You lot are troublesome
Yup.
mischief.
Oh, my work here is done.
Yeah, that's it. Sarah Maria off to have dinner now. She's like, my mischief
We
making
ate
done.
the day before. We didn't want to. We didn't want to be sitting here panicking about food being burnt in the oven. So we quickly scoffed everything down so that we could be here on time.
Thank you.
Absolutely worth it. Just extraordinary.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No worries.
Morag, I was sitting here, I mean, I was moved so much. I was thinking, is she an author? Is she a screenwriter? Is she an actress? Oh my God, what power. I'm just blown away. I knew you were spectacular. That's a whole nother level. I was going, it's got a magic of some of the things that I think are the best, the Fleabag, Sally Rooney, Mary Westley, Dawn French, Morag, obviously. But I was just wowed. And yeah, more. If I was at your play, I'd be sitting there going, oh, you'd have to come on and do bits again. You'd have to pull something out of the bag. You'd have to talk to us for hours afterwards. I'm so glad I know you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thanks for including us.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. You've named like some of my absolute heroines in there. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Sally Rooney.
Oh.
Hello.
Honestly, I would just, if that was the book, I would not go to sleep until I'd finished it.
Wow. Thank you.
And so say all of us.
Mhm.
I knew I loved you. Now it's even deeper.
Oh, fabulous. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to say good night. I'm
Good
going
night,
to
darling. Well
crack
done.
through this gin.
Well done.
Have a
Good
wonderful
night.
weekend. And thank you so much for coming and supporting me.
You were amazing.
Well done. It was brilliant.
Bye, darling.
Bye, my love.
Bye.
That's
Bye bye.
Bye.